The rain fell softly that evening, tapping against the tall glass windows of St. Mary's Rehabilitation Center. Inside, the hall smelled faintly of antiseptic and fresh coffee, a strange mix that had become familiar to every parent, patient, and nurse there. In room 314, a young girl sat in her wheelchair, staring at the dimming sky. Her name was Emily Grant, daughter of the powerful, untouchable CEO, Richard Grant. But in that moment, she didn't feel powerful. She didn't even feel alive. Emily had been paralyzed from the waist down after a tragic car accident 9 months ago. She had once been the life of every room. A bright 15-year-old with a quick laugh, a love for horses, and an unshakable belief in the beauty of the world. But now she barely spoke. Her once sparkling blue eyes had dulled, her lips pressed into a thin, permanent line. Doctors said recovery was possible with intense therapy, but Emily had stopped trying. Her father, Richard, had tried everything. He'd flown in world-class doctors, paid for the best therapists, bought the latest medical equipment. But money couldn't heal what was broken inside his daughter's spirit. And Richard, a man who could negotiate billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, was helpless. One rainy Monday morning, a new face walked into the therapy room. He wasn't wearing the crisp white coat of a doctor or the polished suit of a corporate man. Instead, he wore faded jeans, a plain shirt, and a kind smile. His name was Daniel Hayes, a single dad in his early 40s, working part-time as a rehabilitation assistant while raising his 8-year-old son, Oliver. Emily, the head therapist, said as she introduced him, "This is Daniel. He's going to help out with your sessions." Emily barely glanced up. She was tired of introductions, tired of people coming in, trying to motivate her, then leaving when she didn't respond. Daniel didn't push. He simply knelt down beside her wheelchair and said, "I heard you like horses." Her eyes flickered with the briefest recognition, then went dull again. "Not anymore," she muttered. "Fair enough," he said with a shrug. "But I should warn you, my son Oliver thinks horses are the closest thing to magic we've got in this world. If you tell him otherwise, you might break his heart." Something about his gentle tone made Emily pause. No one had spoken to her like that in months. Everyone tiptoed around her, afraid of saying the wrong thing. Daniel didn't. Over the next few days, Daniel didn't lecture her about trying harder or tell her to be grateful. Instead, he told stories about Oliver's ridiculous obsession with building pillow forts, about how he once tried to cook pancakes and nearly burned down the kitchen, about the time he rescued a stray dog in the pouring rain. He made her laugh, just once at first, a small, reluctant chuckle that surprised even her. But once the first laugh broke through, others followed. One afternoon, during a quiet break, Daniel leaned closer and said softly, "Emily, I know you're scared. I know it feels like the world took something from you, and you'll never get it back. But you're still here, and I'll help you, no matter how long it takes." For the first time in months, Emily felt a flicker of hope. Richard noticed the change almost immediately. When he came to visit that week, Emily actually looked at him. She even told him about Oliver's latest invention that had flooded their kitchen. Richard was astonished. This man, this ordinary single dad, had done what the most expensive doctors could not. But not everyone was pleased. The hospital's senior therapist, Dr. Walsh, disapproved of Daniel's unconventional methods. "You're wasting her time with stories and games," she told him sharply. "She needs discipline, not friendship." Daniel stayed calm. "She needs to believe she's worth fighting for before she can fight. That's what I'm giving her." Still, Dr. Walsh pressured the administration to remove him from Emily's case. When Emily overheard this, something inside her snapped. For the first time, she wheeled herself down the hallway to the director's office and demanded, "If Daniel leaves, I'm done with therapy." Richard, standing silently in the corner, realized in that moment his daughter wasn't just talking again. She was standing up for herself. And so Daniel stayed. Over the next 3 months, he worked with Emily every day. Progress was slow, agonizingly slow, but it came. She regained strength in her upper body, then learned to maneuver her wheelchair with precision. Then came the hardest part, trying to stand, even for a few seconds. The first time she managed it, Oliver was in the room, cheering louder than anyone. She laughed through her tears, hugging him. One sunny afternoon, Daniel surprised Emily by taking her and Oliver to a small countryside stable. She hesitated when she saw the horses, her old passion buried under months of pain. But Daniel simply handed her the reins and said, "Magic only works if you let it." That day, Emily rode again, with Daniel walking beside her, ready to catch her if she slipped. The wind in her hair, the steady rhythm of the horse beneath her, the sound of Oliver's excited laughter. It all came rushing back. She wasn't broken. She was still Emily. When she returned to the hospital, she threw herself into therapy with new determination. Within 6 more months, she could take short steps with the help of crutches. The day she walked across the therapy room for the first time, Richard was there. The stoic CEO wept openly, pulling both Emily and Daniel into a fierce embrace. "Thank you," he whispered to Daniel. "You saved my little girl." Daniel just smiled. "No, sir. She saved herself. I just reminded her she could." Word of Emily's progress spread quickly, not just in the hospital, but throughout Richard's company. At the annual charity gala, instead of the usual speech about profits and market growth, Richard introduced Daniel and Oliver to the crowd. He told the story of kindness that money couldn't buy, the story of a man who gave hope back to his daughter when all hope was gone. Months later, Emily, now walking with a cane, visited the stables with Daniel and Oliver again. She was stronger, happier, and, most importantly, looking forward to the future. As they watched Oliver try and fail to mount a horse without help, Emily turned to Daniel. "You know, when you first walked into that therapy room, I thought you were just another stranger who would disappear. And now?" he asked with a smile. "Now," she said, "I know some people show up in your life not to fix you, but to walk beside you until you can stand on your own." Daniel didn't reply. He didn't need to. The quiet look between them said it all. Because in the end, the miracle wasn't that Emily walked again. The miracle was that she believed she could.